Battlefield 2042's future sounds more uncertain than ever. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 gameplay was revealed, Diablo Immortal players are outraged, and much more on Today in Gaming. Battlefield 2042 Season 1 was revealed yesterday, and the reaction to all the info has been, well, mixed. Fans are excited about the new content, but many say it's too little too late. The new content goes live tomorrow, adding 1 specialist, 2 new guns, a new gadget, 2 new stealth helicopters, and a new map. Based on my experience with the content so far, it does seem considerably better than most of the stuff that's already in the base game. And if you want a full breakdown of that info and my impressions, check out yesterday's video. Now, during a Q&A session at the end of the preview, DICE's comments also failed to give fans confidence in the game's future. They committed to supporting 2042 with 4 seasons of content, and they said they want to keep this game going to make it the best it can be, and they don't have an end date for this particular game. However, today, industry insider Jeff Grubb claimed that 2042 is being worked on by a skeleton crew whose priority is fulfilling their year 1 content obligations as quickly and cheaply as possible while the studio works on the next game. He says it's basically in abandoned ship mode. EA have already put the next Battlefield game into pre-production, and the franchise's core development group is leading work on it. These claims run counter to what DICE have said about 2042's ongoing development. They recently said the entire DICE team is still working on 2042 as opposed to a post-launch crew taking over. In our final 2042 update, news outlets reported that DICE is dropping 128 player support from all future maps. DICE did say during the preview event that they've unshackled themselves from the 128 player mandate and that all new content will be designed to offer the most fun experience possible. However, that doesn't mean future content won't support 128 players. A DICE community manager responded to the articles by saying there is no intention to drop 128 player support from future content. DICE devs have also clarified that future maps are being developed with lessons learned from the launch maps. Season 1's map Exposure is a prime example. It was reworked based on feedback about the launch maps to be smaller and more focused, while still supporting 128 players in Conquest. In other words, the maps DICE adds in the future will have plenty of cover, focused combat, specific areas for different kinds of action, and no more wide open barren spaces. What's your take on all of this info? The extremely slow progress on 2042's development seems to indicate that it would have a very small crew working on the game. Do you think 2042 is going to get the plug pulled as soon as year 1 content wraps up? Let us know in the comments. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 gameplay and info has been revealed. Activision released a trailer showcasing in-game footage of the single-player campaign. It includes familiar faces like Ghost, Soap, and Captain Price. They get into the usual sequence of globe-trotting action, showcasing the return of night vision combat, modern weapons, and a new threat to the world. Visually, the trailer looks very impressive, but it's a heavy mix of cinematics and in-engine footage, so it's tough to say what it'll actually look like in-game. That said, if you think 2019's Modern Warfare looks good, Modern Warfare 2 is a clear continuation of those visuals. As for actual info about what you can expect from multiplayer, Gunsmith is returning from 2019's Modern Warfare. It's been upgraded and expanded to give you fine-tuned control over each attachment. As an example, instead of just having a selection of barrels to choose from, you'll be able to adjust each barrel option with a silencer to make it heavier or lighter. Each end of the spectrum has its own pros and cons. Weapon upgrades and unlocks are also earned by class rather than the overall level. So if you play with SMGs a lot, you'll unlock more SMG stuff. Some attachments are universal, while others are unique to specific guns. When you unlock a new gun, chances are you'll have a few basic attachments already unlocked for it. When it comes to Warzone, unfortunately, Warzone 1 and Modern Warfare 2's version of Warzone will be entirely separate experiences. That means none of your unlocks or cosmetics will carry over to the new Battle Royale. Warzone 2 is a clean slate that won't reflect any of the progress or money you spent on Warzone 1. Considering how invested players are in Warzone's cosmetics and how incredibly extensive its options are, plus its inclusion of 3 entire games worth of weapons, that's a massive blow to fans of the Battle Royale. Players have gotten used to Warzone offering a ton of content from multiple games all in one place. Starting from scratch with nothing to show for your past commitment is probably a tough pill to swallow for many players. Warzone 2 will probably launch sometime after Modern Warfare 2's release in October 28th and likely before the end of the year. The recently released mobile-focused Diablo Immortal's microtransactions are drawing intense scrutiny from players. In a nutshell, players are able to buy a pass that boosts their loot drops, and they can also pay for gear upgrades. Paying for these things massively shortcuts your progress in the game, since the free-to-play progression has time limits and worse drop rates. Players say these mechanics make the game heavily pay to win. They also say the cost of paid content is extremely high. According to player calculations, to fully upgrade and equip your characters, you'd have to either spend over $100,000 in-game or grind for the next 10 years. And for anyone who's played Diablo games in the past, maxing out your characters is a big part of the endgame experience, and it should be attainable for most players. Immortal seems to be locking what is essentially the core gameplay experience for Diablo behind a massive paywall. It's unclear how Blizzard will respond to the situation. The Diablo franchise is no stranger to this sort of controversy. Diablo 3 launched with a real money auction house that destroyed any sense of progress or balance in the game, while being an incredibly lucrative venture for some players. Blizzard shut down that auction house and rebalanced the entire game, to be fair, and since then it's become the most popular Diablo title ever. Hopefully they're willing to take similar measures with Diablo Immortal and shift the microtransaction system over to something a little bit less pay to win, or maybe more cosmetic oriented. The Cycle Frontier had its pre-season launch today. The game is a reimagining of the original Cycle that launched in 2019 as a free-to-play sort of extraction-type royale experience. And Frontier really redesigned a lot of the core gameplay with persistent gear, characters, and timed raids. Think Escape from Tarkov, but on an alien planet and less zany customization options. Season 1 launches on the 22nd and will add the game's first battle pass, new cosmetics, and more. And while many players feel the reimagining of the game into Escape from Tarkov Lite is a positive change, initial reviews on Steam complain about bugs and technical issues marring the experience. It currently has a mixed review rating. Leaker Tom Henderson claims he's seen footage of a new horror game by Metal Gear and Death Stranding creator Hideo Kojima. According to Henderson, the footage is a trailer showing a woman played by actress Margaret Qualley walking down a hallway. There's a jump scare and then a title screen announcing the game as Overdose. Henderson says Kojima Productions asked him to take his article down, but he has refused the request. Death Stranding and Walking Dead star Norman Reedus recently confirmed Death Stranding 2 is in production. It sounds like the game is in pre-production while Overdose is farther along. Summer Game Fest kicks off tomorrow, so there's a chance we could get the trailer Henderson saw very soon. Halo Infinite's co-op campaign will enter beta next month. To get access, you'll have to sign up for it in the game's website and be granted access when it goes live. The proper launch of co-op is happening later this year. Fans were very disappointed by the absence of campaign co-op when Infinite launched, as it's one of the core features of the franchise. Before we get to our final story today, I just want to say thanks for tuning in. If there's any stories that stood out to you, let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to help support the channel. Co-op zombie survival shooter Back 4 Blood just got a minor update that adds some critical features. The highlight is the option to kick players from a match if they've been idle for too long or deal too much friendly fire. And considering the game is literally a survival title, a kick feature seems vital to the integrity of the experience, so it's great to see that it's finally added. Other additions include an option to unlock all gameplay modifying cards at the start of the campaign, new skills, and new cosmetics. And that wraps it up for today in gaming. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.